What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Zach and Pat Show. I'm Zach.
I'm Pat.
This is the show about manhood, fatherhood, entrepreneurship, and the mentality it takes to be successful at those things. And we'll probably sprinkle in some helpful real estate advice, too, because that's what Pat and I do. You know, guys, life can be tough. We can go through some things and struggle at times, but this is the show to let you know that you're not alone. So if you're someone out there going through any of these things, this is the show for you. All right, guys, let's talk about something we all need. High quality, comfortable, stylish clothing that actually holds up in real life. Whether you're grinding at work, hitting the gym, or just hanging out, the Normal brand has you covered. I've been rocking their gear, and let me tell you, it's not your average clothing line. They've nailed it perfect with the perfect blend of durability, comfort, style, whether it's a go-to rugged Henley, a hoodie, a button-down that doesn't make you feel like a stiff, the Normal brand is where it's at. The best part is you can support the show while upgrading your wardrobe. Just hit the link in the description below. Check out their collection. Trust me, once you try it, you'll wonder why you didn't do it sooner. The Normal brand. Made for real life, built to last. Now go check them out.
Shout out to our friends over at Captain Beard Co. Guys, if you are looking for beard care products, shampoo, conditioner, body wash, give Captain Beard Co. a try. They have this unbelievable beard butter, balm, oils, and then it smells amazing. Ladies, if you're looking for something for your men as a gift to help with their grooming, check them out. Also, if you guys are looking to just set the mood one night, candles, unbelievably smelling candles, made with all natural ingredients here locally to St. Louis. Give them a shot. Also, while you're there, use the promo code Zach and Pat for 10% off your purchase.
Hey there, guys. We really appreciate you checking out the Zach and Pat Show. If you can obviously tell, we are a newer podcast, but one way we're really trying to grow the show is trying to get up the amount of subscribers we have. So, if you're watching the show and you're getting something out of it, we'd really appreciate it if you could click that subscribe button. That would help us out a ton. Please click that button. And now back to the show. We have a very special guest in studio today. He is the agency owner of Fogelbach Agency Insurance and Financial Services and the president of the STL Hero Network, the great and powerful Ed Fogelbach.
Welcome sir.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.
Definitely
Cheers.
more great than I am powerful.
Well, Ed, for the people out there that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah.
A lot of stuff going on, so.
I do, and I think the podcast only speaks like 4 hours, so I'm not sure how much time I got.
As much as you want.
Yeah. So mainly the biggest thing to know about me to start with is I have an awesome family. Wife, 9 kids, 6 grandkids, number 7's on the way. And that really could be enough if we just dove into that right there.
Sure.
Then that's the personal side on that. Like I will tell you this, there is nothing in this world better than grandkids. You don't realize it, you hear about it, but wow, it's amazing. And it's not the send them home thing. You always hear, oh yeah, because you can send them home when they're
right.
It's the opportunity to it's kind of the opportunity to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
The things that you go, oh man, I wish I'd have known, and you get to do it over as Papa. There's times where I'll see a picture of me holding one of my grandkids, and it's just like a picture of when I held one of my kids, and it's just, it takes you back 20, 30 years, and it's amazing. There's nothing like it until you get there. You can't describe it. You know how awesome having kids is.
Yes.
You're like, wow. You just, in my opinion, maybe some people aren't the same, but it's amazing. So, I mean, literally, like right there, if we just stop the conversation on talking about that, I would have sufficed talking about everything anybody needs to know about me. But there had to be a way to pay for all these kids.
Right.
So I was a police officer, firefighter, and EMS from Des Peres. That's where I retired. I did 25 years in public service total. And then when I retired, I got into the private sector, which I didn't realize. I always thought was the scariest thing in the world. Throw me into a gunfire. I'll run into a burning building, whatever you need me to do. Don't make me go into the private sector when I don't know where my paycheck's coming from. How much is it going to be? My benefits are guaranteed, whatever. I mean, that was the scariest thing in the world to me. Car salesmen who, like, you're waiting for people to show up. And that's you're just waiting, or you're that was so scary to me. I was like, how do you do it? I would rather make less money that's secure than like just you don't know.
The potential to make more, but you don't know. Yeah.
So when I retired and I got into the private sector, I was scared. But I started insurance, and I always tell people this, and it was just too easy. People just started throwing their money at me. Here you go, here you go, here you go. I'm like, everybody said this was hard.
Yeah.
I was scared of it.
Uh-huh.
When I was going through, learning how to be an agent and going through the training and everything, people were dropping out like flies. And, it was just within like a couple of years, anybody that I had started with or was around then was gone. They sold or just quit or whatever. But I just kept growing, and I really still don't have much of an answer for it. I would just say it has to do with I can talk to anybody about anything. And you learn that.
And do you think, because I know that we've had this conversation, I've known you for a very long time. Do you think it's because you do a great job of educating people? Do you think you're doing it's because you do more educating than actually trying to sell people?
I think so. And I had this conversation with a new hire, is that we don't sell. I don't sell anything. I meet with people, I educate, I let them know what I have, what I think's best for them. And then they tell me, a few other things, and that's where I leave it. I kind of joke around where the phrase of always be closing is out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I stop there. I'm just like, okay, here you go. Let me know.
Yeah.
I don't do the cash check or charge, and, I just educate them, and it seems to work really well for me. And I'm sure I would make more sales if I would learn how to reel them in at the end or whatever, but I haven't. And now I don't want to. Now I'm like, I don't even want to watch a how-to video on how to close more deals or anything, because I don't want to lose what I've developed so far.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too, is the way you're doing it is going to draw people in that you want to work with and want to help. If you're having to force somebody to force a sale, I mean, those are probably going to be pain in the ass clients for you. And, and it's like, I'm sure those wouldn't be an issue for you, but I'm sure you love all the clients that you work with.
I
Yeah,
definitely love, hold on, I need a drink.
Yeah.
No, I'll be honest. I have had to fire some clients, and you probably have too.
100%.
Where, and it's not necessarily that they're wrong. We just don't mesh, or what they need doesn't fit what my office is able to provide them. Or, I mean, there's a few things. It's not been many. One thing, again, going back to police work, it taught me is how to be a good actor. And what I mean by that is not necessarily being fake, but change your approach. If you have the same approach on a traffic stop that you do with a 22-year-old kid or a 92-year-old man, that's problematic.
Sure.
Okay. Because on the 22-year-old kid, you can talk to them a little bit more freely and have a conversation with them a little bit more open. But if you pull over a 92-year-old man, to me, it's a lot more yes, sir, no, sir, very, this is your senior, your elder. It's a different conversation. And then, if you're talking to a female or somebody from another country, all these things have to be taken into consideration immediately when you start a conversation. I learned that in police work, but I have the same people across from me or on the phone with me all the time. 22-year-old kid, his needs are totally different in insurance than a 92-year-old man. And somebody from other countries, they look at insurance differently. You have to explain the needs differently. If you just went the same approach every time, you're only going to win that client that approach is for.
Right.
And I've seen it a lot. We do it the same way every time. Well,
it's not going to work.
Uh,
Everybody's different. Everybody responds to things differently. You can't just have that same approach with everyone. There's no way.
No.
You gotta kind of match that person's energy, and at least that's kind of how I feel about it in my business. If someone's like really assertive and aggressive, and then, you kind of almost you get a certain vibe from them, and okay, this is what they're expecting from me. But if you get like the more laid back, person, that kind of have to match that energy. And I would say I'm similar to you in that way, that I don't feel like I really sell things. Like in real estate, like houses kind of sell themselves. But like what I'm selling is I'm selling me. It's like, do you want to work with me? Am I the kind of person that you're going to vibe with? Like in my whole approach is like very low pressure. So, and I would say that's been worked for me very well. So think we can relate on that for sure.
Yeah, I totally get that. Y- you got to have a relationship. Well, to me, insurance and real estate, anything that is, I don't know, it's kind of hard to say. To me, it's, well, just all that is so relationship based. And like you said, I want them to buy my agency, not the policy.
Mm.
So that's more the direction I'm going is, I will help you in everything I can, which includes educating you and getting you into the best policy. But that in reality, there's thousands of agents selling that exact same policy. So you have to buy me because that policy is available anywhere. And that's been vital, and it's been great for me. And one other thing you had mentioned is being the president of the St. Louis Hero Network. That has been a wonderful whirlwind. So I don't know if you guys know Charlie Metzner yet, or if you had the opportunity to spend any time with him.
Works out of my office.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So he and a couple other gentlemen started this charity. I guess it's about 7 years now, and the design was based on promoting police officers, firefighters, medics, and military, either current or retired, promoting their businesses to the public. These guys are already proven to be servants. They're already proven to be heroes. They're proven to be trusted in the community. And now they have stepped out to do something else. Sometimes it's a supplement to what they're doing because, allegedly police and fire don't make as much money as some professions. That was a joke, by the way, sarcasm. But so sometimes it's a second gig. Sometimes, again, they're retired. Got to continue to make some money.
Right.
But their desire to serve and their trustworthiness as far as what they're going to do for the community, that hasn't gone away just because they're in a different position. So that was the purpose of the starting the Hero Network, was let's get these businessmen and women out there back into the community. Let's display them. And then with especially with Charlie, like it just blew up on the fundraising side, and what the organization has been able to do for so many other charities, it's amazing. You just wouldn't. It's over $1.5 million to other charities.
Oh wow!
Wow,
that's
and,
incredible.
The amount of money to Backstoppers has been overwhelming. And then just individuals who something bad happens to them, and giving them a check and doing a fundraiser for them, and or we have different groups who are doing individual fundraising of their own. We'll do a charity and donate to all three of them, or we'll do an event and donate to all three of them, and just watch how Charlie and the rest of the board just made that happen. And then if Charlie does way too much, says yes too much, and then tries to do it all himself. And so he had been asked multiple times by board members and other people, hey, let's bring on some help. You need to kind of delegate more. And Charlie's like, no, the right person's not there. Nope, couldn't do it. Well, one day I go over to Charlie's to pick up some tickets to Guns and Hoses to do put in another charity event that I was doing. And we're talking maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And I'm talking to him about some visions that I had for the Hero Network, which I'm just a member. I'm like, and a guy. And Charlie just stops and says, "You're the new president." And, I'm like, haha. And he talks to me a little bit about what that role is, just a little bit. And we start talking about his vision and my vision being similar, and that he was looking for somebody to do that. And I didn't volunteer. Like I didn't go there and say, "Hey, this is what you need to do, and I'm going to do it." We're just having a conversation.
Like, you're it.
So literally the next morning I text him, "President of what?" And his like, "The board of directors." And I spent the next day studying what is the president of a board of directors for a charity. I've never been on a board, let alone president of a board, but it's been great.
How long has this been now?
Well, officially voted in or appointed, whatever. I guess voted in January.
Okay.
But like he made the announcement like in November, and but it was in this kind of stage of, well, I'm not actually the president, so I can't do anything. But he's like, "I want you to do this," and, "Hey, can you do that?" I'm like, "Well, I can, but I'm not really the president yet." It was like, so once January hit, was able to roll with it, and it's been great meeting so many people who have served our community and are now, just serving in a different direction. So, trying to find more and more police officers, first responders, and military that have businesses has been a goal, because we want to find more people to help.
Awesome. One thing you mentioned, and this is something actually I found out recently. It was on another podcast we did, but I didn't realize DePere, where you served, was you're all three. Like that
Yes.
I've never heard of that before. Like, what's that like?
Absolutely nuts, crazy, but fun.
You don't know what you're getting through. Like, how does the scheduling work? I have so many questions about this.
Well, so it's been 10 years,
Okay.
going on 11.
So yeah, I mean, you can only speak on to when you were there 10 years ago. So
Right. So
things could be different now.
when I was there, we worked the 5. So we'd work a day, 24 hours,
Okay.
then be off a day, work another 24, be off a day, work another 24. And then we were off for 4 days. So you commonly hear that phrase, the 4-day.
Yeah.
That's the firefighters' version of, that's 4 days off in between shifts. I always say that firefighting is the best part-time job in the world, because you can work 9 to 10 days a month. So that leaves the rest of your month to have a second job, or, whatever, spend time with, say you had 9 kids or something crazy like that. But it would be 24 hours.
Okay.
So you would start in the police car at either 8 a.m. or 4 p.m. And then we had another shift that came in for the midnight shift, just for that 8 hours of policing. So if you started 8 hours in the police car at 8 a.m., then at 4 o'clock you'd come off and you'd swap. Somebody else who'd been in the firehouse for the first 8 hours would go out in the police car, and then the next.
You guys like change uniforms? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. Like you come in, you take your you take your police gear off, take the vest off, change, and then now you're in
firefighter gear. Okay.
Yep. And many times calls seem to happen at 4 o'clock all the time.
Sure.
So we would have where police would arrive to a scene, and maybe there was somebody that needed to be arrested and somebody needed to go to the hospital. Both, that happens.
It's convenient. Yeah.
So like I could have been the police officer on duty there, and then I swap over. I'm still in my police uniform, and I jump over and I drive the ambulance in full police gear to the hospital.
Yeah.
With another guy in full police gear and being the medic in the back. And then 2 people who started on that ambulance on the beginning of the call, they're getting our police cars and driving back to the station to change clothes, to get in their police uniforms and go back out on patrol. So it was a lot sometimes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I remember, and goes with any firefighter though, like the thing I remember the most is like calls at like 3:00 in the morning, like not remembering who you are or what you're doing. Like,
am I police,
wait,
firefighter,
yes.
EMT?
where am I going? Which direction? Where's the door? But I mean, any firefighter has that, but I guess it's just a little bit more when you know it. Am I supposed to be wearing my gun to this one?
Yeah.
Don't wear a gun into a fire.
Yeah,
Probably not a good idea.
Bad idea. Wow, what's the training like for that?
Constant. It's
Okay.
continual. So for the most part, and again, going back 10 plus years, DePere would hire experienced police officers and then send them to
Fire training
and medical.
medic training.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, in my opinion, and I think most people would agree with this, is it's easier to turn a police officer into a firefighter than a firefighter into a police officer. You can turn a police officer down and chill him out.
Sure.
And okay, now we're dealing with the public in a like it's okay. We don't have to.
on
They're
alert.
not going to hurt us.
Yes.
Well, mostly.
They're not going to hurt. Yeah.
You go into, a call for, somebody who's the broken leg, you're not going to go in and expect to have to cuff this person and take them in. We're just going to take them to the hospital.
Yes.
But you can turn that down on a police officer. Well, most people who have spent their life, being a firefighter and all that and being through the training, they have a different mentality to start with. Not it's just different. So telling them, okay, now it's time to turn it up and be aggressive and
Be alert and yeah.
just it's different. And it's not
Different.
it's not an insult. It's just there's a reason people go to the left at the for the police academy, or they go to the right for the fire academy.
Right.
Now, mostly it's donuts, but at the end of the day, a lot of it has to do with attitude and what the direction they desire. But so I think DePere saw that, because that's what they would do, is they would hire experienced police officers and then send them to get the fire side.
And has it always been like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
I think is smart. I mean, if you think about it, one, DePere isn't a very big municipality, so trying to fund all three at one time versus, it allows you to hire more quality people and still stay within a budget of the municipality, so taxes aren't going out the roof.
I would say the highest quality people get hired there. Personally, that's what I would say. But
yeah, you would have to be able to switch between the three.
All three. Now, were you a police officer elsewhere before you went to DePere?
Yes, I broke in the Wild Wild West, which is Jefferson County back in the 90s.
All right.
Lots
of math, huh?
That was you talk about a different world than it is now. Just
I know, isn't it crazy? Like seeing how I live pretty close to Arnold, and like I just remember growing up, like Arnold was like a completely different place than it is right now.
Oh yeah, and you're what are you 40?
32.
Yeah, not even that.
Ouch.
Well, I'm trying. I'm trying. The way you're putting it is that, like, to me, if you're 32, you have no idea what Arnold used to be.
Are you sure? Okay.
That's why you're talking like you've been to Arnold a long time ago.
I mean, from when I was a kid, I remember going to Arnold all the time. It just looks very different than it used to.
Yeah, I mean it's nothing compared to what it used to look like.
Sure. Okay. But before I remember, I'm sure it was even more different.
Yeah. Like, did you know there used to not be a Walmart in Arnold?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me though.
Right. Yeah.
55 was 2 lanes. That was a little, not that far. Yes.
It was 2 lanes.
Yeah.
It was 2 lanes both directions.
Whoa.
It was 3 lanes like into the beginning of the 90s, late 80s. It went 3 lanes north of Imperial.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
All right.
That's
Before
why
my time. All
That's
right.
why I said you must be older than what I thought, because I'm thinking, well, you're talking like you were.
Well, okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
it just was different than I remember it as a kid.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sure it was even more different than.
Jefferson County, though, it was. I always refer back to so I left Jefferson County, went to Crestwood. Decided to get paid But I would tell you what, if the pay was the same or money didn't matter, I'd have never left Jefferson County. It was such a fun job.
Really?
But it was a young man's game.
Okay.
You went home muddy or bloody every night. And so it was tough, but it was so fun when you're
Yeah.
Fresh out.
yeah. I can't believe I was walking around with a badge and gun at 21. I mean, if you think about
Right.
21,
Yeah, I think about myself at 21. And
which
I'm
was
like,
only apparently like just a few years ago because I was mistaken.
I know I'm bald, but you know.
But so one of my favorite memories of changing from Jeff County to Crestwood and the difference was my first day at Crestwood. I'm with my training officer, and we get a call at it was Famous Bar at the time, but Macy's, and now nothing because the mall's gone.
Right.
But there's a shoplifter in custody, so a person's already under control. They got everything. They're in this office with security.
You just got to go pick them up.
Get in and write a report.
Yeah.
So I never had this before in my life. Jefferson County didn't work this way. We didn't do shoplifting. There
wasn't a mall to shoplift.
Yeah, there's
bigger fish to fry.
Yeah. So we go over there, and so we're hearing about the situation, and my training officer says, "Okay, go ahead and place him under arrest." Well, I grab him, spin him around, throw him on top of the desk, put his arms behind him, and cuff him up. The training officer's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Just tell him
Turn around.
to turn around. You're under arrest." And I'm like, "What?"
They listen?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Jefferson County, my entire career was spent like you
Forcibly do it.
Yeah.
Well, you cuff them up, you get them under control immediately before you let them know anything. Otherwise, it's either a fight. They didn't run. It was a fight.
Okay.
And in Jefferson County, we had a phrase. It was one riot, one deputy. So basically, it didn't matter what was going on. You were by yourself. So you needed to take control of a person immediately. And then, oh, by the way, you're under arrest.
Okay.
Because if you said, all right, go ahead, turn around, put your hands behind your back, you're under arrest, they weren't going to do that.
Right.
Yeah. And then now they're alert and they're going to fight you for it. Yeah.
Them and whoever else.
Yes.
Okay. So I just remember like the complete change in how you do police work. And 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's
You
not
know?
far. Yeah, not far at all.
And again, this was in the 90s, so
Okay.
because I am old.
Yeah. I am too, apparently.
But that was the biggest one of the biggest things. I'm like, wait a minute, people will actually listen to you. That was the weirdest thing because that was not happening in Jeffco.
Wow.
Yep. But I would go back. I was on SWAT down there, and if again, it was a great job, but you can't raise a family. Well, I couldn't. I'm not sure on. I left a long time ago there, but I'm not sure what the money is now. But you definitely couldn't raise a family then on it, and it was. But man, it was fun. It was a good time.
Do you have any
Sounds like
any
it.
crazy stories from those times that you want to share? Anyone that like sticks out? Oh man, that one was wild.
And I hate to. I'm sitting here trying to think of like. I feel like they were all crazy if I talk to other people, but for me, it's what normal.
Right.
Okay.
And a lot of times you don't think about them until like a situation comes up. Like, and I'm totally blanking now that you put me on the spot for something.
Sorry.
And nothing is really jumping up ahead of me, or in my brain. But if we have conversations and be like, oh, I saw this on the news.
I
Like,
remember that
I
gas
remember.
station. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I do remember. This is kind of. I think statute of limitations are over for me on this one. So I had this. Hold on.
Emery juice.
Yeah.
There you go. That'll help.
Fins up. So I had this guy who had already run from one police officer, deputy done. And so we got, this is where he's at. He's running over here. And so I saw him running in a field, and I'm still able to drive my police car. So, I'm going to drive my police car to him. So while he's running and getting tired, I chase him down in the car. So then I get out and I start chasing. Now we're going up a hill, like I had to go over a fence, and then now we're running up this hill. Well, finally I get close enough to him. I'm telling him stop and all those things I'm supposed to say, quit resisting and those things. And so I end up, I mace him.
From like a distance, or like
far enough distance that not
like
too
you're like
far.
running away. He's like running away, and you're macing him, or how?
Well, actually, I kind of passed him.
Oh.
Remember, one, I was thinner, younger, and he'd been running for a while.
Yeah.
So,
You're fresh.
Yeah. So, so I got in front of him and I sprayed him. And he goes down to the ground, and I grab him up. I cuff him, and let's see, what's the best way to put this? From the time I cuffed him until the time I got him to the car, his attitude was repeatedly adjusted in reference to not running from the police.
Okay.
I think we got that, right?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
I follow.
Yeah. So then we get to my police car, and then there you got to wait for a supervisor to show up, and because there's a use of force. So
Use the mace. Yeah.
right. Ambulance had already come there, and so allegedly back in the days, I know they don't do this now, but when the ambulance gets there, they pour water, and then the water just runs the mace back into their eyes because they just pour water over the top of the head. And that probably caused a little more pain. I mean,
Sure.
it wasn't me. I didn't feel it. So then the supervisor gets there, and the supervisor has since passed away, and so we don't have to really worry about that. But we're talking, and I tell him I didn't feel like the mace was very potent, that it was like it did a very good job. And so he says, "Oh, let me see that." And he grabs it, and he says, "Yeah, I don't know this one." And he grabs his and throws me his and says, "You this one, I'll get a new one." I'm like, "Great, thanks." Well, then he proceeded to empty the can on the guy that ran, who did fall through a thorn bush or two and had a cut or two here and there.
Yeah.
And
I mean, he tripped and fell down the hill.
it was, well, we had to get down the hill.
Right.
He's the one who ran up the hill. He doesn't run up the hill. He doesn't have to come down.
Sure.
And then I took him to jail from that point. But that's not actually the best part of the story. So that was when I was in Jefferson County. He had a warrant in Crestwood. I wasn't in Crestwood, didn't have intentions of going. It wasn't even a thing. So he had a warrant in Crestwood. So they came, picked him up, and mugshotted him and everything like that. And then I don't know how much longer from then I did go to Crestwood, and somehow this guy's name came up, and one of the officers who was at Crestwood that was involved in the booking of when they brought him to Crestwood, says, "Hold on a second." And he goes and pulls the guy's file out, grabs his mugshot, and says, he shows me. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's the guy." He may or may not had a bruise or two visibly on the mugshot.
Like this?
Yeah. But so I'm like, yeah, that's the guy. And that officer says, that guy said all night that he wanted to thank that officer, being me, for teaching him to never run from the police again. It's like, so you know, I made an impression on, you know, what is it? If you can make an impression on one person in life, you have succeeded.
Yep.
I mean,
there's your big
There you go.
success
right
story.
there. So
Forget about all the other people you helped. That's the one.
Yeah,
Yeah, you helped him out for sure.
Yeah.
He's not running for any more plays.
I look at all the police I've helped.
Right.
I mean, you know, running's not fun.
Oh, I couldn't imagine all that shit.
As far as, you know, the bad guys, if you run, that just means you go to jail tired.
Yeah.
So, but I do. Okay, there's a story.
Perfect.
Hopefully
right.
that doesn't get me in some kind of federal indictment of some sort.
No, I'm sure. It will.
Yeah, statute of limitations are passed, and like I said, he fell down the hill that he went running up.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's not easy to walk when your hands are cuffed behind your back.
Nope.
Yeah.
Right.
But after running all that time, my legs
I mean,
would be really weak. I'd fall down the hill too.
It's a good point.
Yeah. So all these years in policing, firefighting, EMT, other than the acting side of it, what else have you taken from those jobs into your role as an entrepreneur, business owner?
Yeah, I'd say kind of the biggest thing is you can't bother me.
Okay.
You can say no. You can hang up on me. You can, you know, be mad at me because the price went up. Whatever. I inside I take nothing personal. It's a career of taking nothing personal. So if you take things personal on in the business side at all, you know, you're just hurting yourself, and it really is difficult to rile me up. Like if a client calls in and yells at me, or which they're more likely to yell at one of my employees than they are me. But I just don't get upset in reference to them. Yeah, it obviously something happened that they didn't think, it didn't meet their expectations, so that's bad, and I can get upset at that. But the person's whatever they're going to say, whatever their words are, you know, being hurt or being insulted, what's that word nowadays? Being triggered, like it doesn't exist for me. And it's kind of funny. One of my daughters is, she's always having some kind of that. Well, you need to, you know, have more, you know, emotion and blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, it's not my thing. And it rolls over into business where the emotion side of that just doesn't hit. Now I do get emotional with my employees in reference that I want them to do. I want them to do their best, and I want them to succeed, and I have my certain expectations for them. But my emotions side is, it's harder for me to discipline them properly, or, you know, move on a mistake than it should be, because I start to internalize you know, they got this going on or they got that going on. And then next thing I know is I'm either allowing the mistake or covering it up or working, you know, fixing it myself and not directly adjusting it. So, but clients wise, you really can't do anything that is going to make me upset. And that's great because in insurance, especially in the beginning, that phone is the heaviest thing in your office. Picking it up, because you know the next person is going to say no anyway. You just go, why even call? Because they're going to say no. And if that gets to the point where that bothers you, it's heavier every time. If you don't care, who cares?
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, I've been there, man. I've been there. I've done a lot of cold calling in my days, and it's not a fun thing. But me and Pat were in here talking the other day, and he was talking about some people I need to reach out to all these agents, and I'm like, well, man, you know, that first one's always the hardest.
Yep.
You know, after that, it's just kind of downhill. You know, after you get a couple rejections, you're just like, all right, well, now I'm just keep doing it. You know, and then eventually it just gets easy. At least that's been my experience.
Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
It's all right if I.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Refill.
Yeah, thirsty.
No, of course not.
Getting weaker. But so I did learn that. I also, I also learned how to handle expectations. I don't know where I learned it a long time ago, and it was don't put the expectations you have on yourself on anybody else. Because, everybody's got different skills, different desires, different, everything is different. So if I expect everybody to care about something the way I do,
let down on that one.
Yeah, every time. If I expect somebody to do something I didn't tell them to do or teach them how to do, that's my fault. So I learned not to lower my expectations, but to change them to be realistic for that person.
That's just being a good leader.
Works great at home too. Because it's easy to have expectations of your kids and then be disappointed when they didn't do whatever you expected, instead of you going, all right, well, this, they're 4 or they're 7 or 15, whatever. And you expect them to be somewhere further along in some decision-making process. And then you're like, oh, why did you do that? And, then your brain's like, because they're 4.
Right.
That's why they did that. Look at the stupid stuff you do at 53. Why in the world at 4?
Right.
But I learned that early, and that I wish I could point that out to who it was. But when I learned that early, that really changed. I don't even know if it changed. I just feel like I just learned it early, and I've had that approach to so many things. But I've also been told that sometimes that means I let people get away with things that I should have had that expectation.
Yeah.
No, that they should have known better. I'm like, well, but I didn't tell them enough, or I didn't show them enough, or I said it, but I didn't write it, whatever. I come up with some stupid excuse on why it's my fault that they didn't do what they were supposed to do. But I guess it's better than blaming them and them going, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's just taking ownership, and I mean, we're big Jocko Willings fan, and he's always talking about, taking that ownership as a leader, where, if somebody messes up, as a leader, that's on you, because you didn't properly teach them or let them know how to do it. Like, oh, that's my fault. No reason to come down on them. It's just going to make them be more scared to do their job.
I got a story about that.
Oh,
a police story. See, this is what I'm telling you. This is how I think of police stories. So, years ago, I was on the SWAT team. Obviously, it's years ago. But I'm a Jefferson County SWAT team, and we were assigned when we weren't, knocking in doors and training, which we did a lot of that. We were assigned to problematic areas, places that were just, things weren't going great. So, there was a call for 30. Remember I said, 1 deputy, 1 riot. There was a call for a fight, 30 something people, 1 with a gun in this town this area close to DeSoto. And, the 1 deputy assigned, hey, I'm en route. I'm maybe 5 minutes further away than he is. So I just started heading that way. I don't have like an assignment where they would be calling me to tell me to go take a call. I have a different job. Okay. So I go over to that, and normally I wouldn't have even have told dispatch I was going, I was around, or anything, but they were looking for a backup to eventually go. So I'm like, all right, hey, I'm close. I'll go. But normally I wouldn't even have been on the radio to tell them anything. So I get there. It's still a little crazy. And, the key thing whenever you get to, a problem where there's a lot of people is you find out who is the loudest and you take them to the ground.
Okay.
And it gets amazingly quiet and people pay better attention. Second to that is racking a shotgun.
Okay.
You want to quiet a room, rack a shotgun. But anyway, this was a situation where I grabbed the loudest guy, took him down, put him in my car, and all of a sudden things are more under control. So this guy proceeds to kick the windshield out of my patrol car. because Jefferson County, we put them in the front seat. We didn't have cages.
Okay.
So front seat, kicks the windshield out of my patrol car.
Why don't they have cages in the back?
Back then they didn't. There was an expense in buying cages, what it does to the vehicles when you put a cage in. There'd be times I'd take 3 people to jail in the car by myself.
And you got a guy in the front seat with you.
Guy in the front seat, 2 in the back.
That's crazy.
1 riot, 1 deputy.
1 deputy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm sorry. Continue.
So
Windshield out.
kicks the windshield out. I was like, great. So we finally clear the scene, and I take this guy to the hospital and then to jail because he needed to go to the hospital and I take him to the jail. And then I get a phone call at 8:00 the next morning. And it's my sergeant, who was the sergeant of the SWAT team. He was off duty. It was a Sunday. I don't know how I remember that. It was a Sunday. He was off duty. And so he calls me 8:00 in the morning. Hey, you need to meet me down at the department now. We have meet with the sheriff, or I don't remember, somebody. And I'm like, okay. So meet him down there. Well, trying to, shorten this up a little bit. I got in trouble for leaving my area. Yeah. And he got in trouble because of vicarious liability, what you were saying, which is you're responsible for that person, even though you weren't involved and they did it. I left my area, which resulted in me going to that scene. My windshield got kicked out. Had I not been there, my windshield wouldn't have got kicked out. Had he had better control over me on his day off, I wouldn't have gone there. So he got some form of reprimand, maybe even suspension for me going there. And he was off duty. But that's the vicarious liability. You're responsible for your people, whether you're around or not.
Crazy. Did you just drive with no windshield?
No, I got a new car.
Got a new car. Okay.
Yeah.
You got him to jail or whatever, or the hospital and then jail.
Oh no, I drove. When I say, I drove to jail with the windshield not in properly. Yeah. Well, at first I drove to the hospital.
Right.
Yeah.
Then I drove to the jail. I'm not sure if I was clear that he went to the hospital
Yeah,
first.
you did.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure he did.
Just wanted to make sure that
He had a few boo-boos.
kicking out a windshield,
Yeah.
Cut your leg up.
that could be hurt.
That
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay, fair enough. He did it all to himself.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure, too, with talking about lessons learned and all that, I'm sure, that's also carried into raising 9 kids. And I'm sure raising 9 kids is also kind of carried over into the mentality it takes to be a solid entrepreneur and not knowing what to expect and having to manage and different personalities amongst different kids. How is that as a father raising 9 children that are all diverse and different, and how did that work out, or what was that like?
Well, let's dive into the diversity
Okay.
of my family.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about the diversity of your family.
I was a single dad at 19. So I had my son Bryant. He's the oldest. When I was 19. So here I am, a single dad. At his age of 3, married my first wife, and we had 3 kids together. So there's 4. January of 2001, 4 months after my youngest child, Allison, was born, I get a call from Columbia Police Department, and they're trying to find my sister. And I hadn't seen my sister in years, and I'm sorry, I don't know where she's at, but where's her 2 kids? And that officer said, well, her 3 kids are in foster care. I'm like, oh, okay. And then within, I don't know, maybe a month, I went up to Columbia and I met the kids. The oldest, who Taylor, is, I had met her when she was a little baby, and when she was born and such, but the middle child, Austin, and then the baby, Elizabeth, I hadn't met them yet. And Elizabeth, I didn't even know was part of our family yet.
And how old?
So Taylor was 7. Austin was about to turn 4. Hold on. I'm sorry. It's 90. Yeah, was about to turn 4. And Elizabeth was like 14 months. And so we decided and worked with DFS and such that we were going to take them in. So in April of that same year, so about 3 months later, we went from 4 kids to 7 kids, like that. It was much tougher than we anticipated it was going to be. And it had nothing to do with the kids. It had everything to do with life and circumstances. The kids are awesome. You know, my kids are like, they're all awesome, but they're all awesome differently. They all have different challenges. They all learn differently. They all have to be disciplined differently. You know, I joke around. I have some kids where I could say, "Hey, take the trash out," and they'll get up, go grab the trash, take it out. I have others. I say, "Hey, take the trash out," and then 3 hours later, "Hey, I told you to take trash out." "Oh, okay, yeah." And then, you know, maybe the 3rd or 4th time you're going, "I told you to take the trash out, take the trash out." So you develop a little bit over time of not going 4 times. You go to that child and say, "Hey, I need you to get up right now and take the trash out right now." And their response is, "Why are you yelling at me?" And it's, "Well, I'm just preventing the first 3 conversations." You know, it's
going right to the 4th.
Yeah. Because you learn that this is the process that you're going to go through. You know, you have one, takes it out right away. Another, like if you don't put the trash bag in their hand, the trash can's not going, or the trash isn't going out. And you have different stuff going on all the time. We have some kids that you have to, if they're not looking you in the eye, they heard nothing. Some that if you tell them more than one thing at a time, they now heard nothing. You know, so it's, "Hey, I need you to go do this." And when you're done, come back. And then, "All right, now I'll go do this." But if you were to say, "Do this, this, and this," none of it's getting done. But you learn that. You learn, you know, and then you have others that's like, "Whoa, hey, yeah, I know you are really good at this, but it's not your job today. It's not your responsibility today." Or they're a little bossy, you know. So you're constantly corralling, but it's more wonderful than I'm making it sound. But the challenge, you're like, oh, sometimes like where I knew I shouldn't have said it that way. I was you like, "Oh, I talked to the wrong one the wrong way," or whatever. So you do learn that a lot. And it does go great into becoming a boss. And, you know, I'm sure one of my employees eventually hear this, but a lot of ways employees are like children, not in their mentality, but and it goes back to the expectations and you can't expect an employee to care about your business the way you do. And if you do have that expectation, it's going to be a problem for you. Well, it's the same thing that, you know, I have to sometimes tell my employees similar things over and over the same way you would some children. You're like, "I already told you this." You know, it was mainly we used to own a restaurant. It was mainly in the restaurant. It was just every day. "Okay, you need to sweep before you leave." Next day. "Oh, I'm leaving. Did you sweep?" No. Next day. "Did you sweep?" No. Like, and it was just get to the point. "Hey, tonight you're sweeping." "Why?"
I mean,
You know, it's just like,
yeah.
So it's the same situation. But so back to the diversity of the kids. So you have that. And then when my first wife and I split up, got married the second time, and she had 2 kids. But now you're just envisioning this wonderful white family. So my sister, whose kids I adopted, you know, 3 different dads. One has
Wow.
Albanian background, and one has one's a biracial, black and white, and the other one's bright white all the time. But so it became a little more diverse in our family, and then my second wife is Mexican, okay. And my 2 additional daughters, Mexican.
Okay.
And so we're like, all right, we're pretty diverse as it is.
Yeah.
And now, we're adding in with the significant others. We have another.
So what are the ages of all the kids?
Right now they're 23 to 34. Wow. Yeah, that's what. Yeah. So my sister's kids fit like perfectly right in boy, girl, or girl, boy, girl. Exactly. So it was like perfectly fit in there, where each of my kids kind of had a similar aged sibling, like boom, immediately.
Wow.
And it was difficult. It was difficult. I imagine raising 9 kids is difficult, even if they're all yours, but when they're not all yours, it's tough.
Sure.
And I will warn anybody out there, the hardest job in the world is being a step parent. It is so hard. So hard.
What makes that so difficult? And I have an idea because I'm going through it with my girlfriend's boyfriend, but I want to hear what your thoughts are on it.
So one, just the very first thing is there is if the dad, or if if you're let's put it the dad situation, because that's where we are at. If the dad's still involved, okay, then there's a dynamic of, you're not my dad. He shouldn't treat you that. There's the dynamic of the real dad, whether he's doing things right or not. Like that's not even the hardest part. But that doesn't help.
Right.
But the other part is figuring out the boundaries of what the rules are going to be, who is to discipline which child in what scenarios, and how much and how hard. And what's even more difficult is if you're like, my kids were raised very, I'd say strict, and straighter. Like it was more we don't do than we do. Television was very restricted, music very restricted. It was go play outside. We didn't have screens. Like my kids didn't play on screens. Now benefit is because, they're closer to your young ages. Screens weren't as prevalent as they are now. We just missed it. It was just coming in.
That's where I was at.
Yeah. So, but if all of a sudden you're bringing in a couple of kids who have no rules, eat whenever they want, watch anything they want, listen to whatever they want, because that's the way mom had the family. And then you go, okay, well, and you mix them into a family that, well, we eat at these times, and these are our snack times, and this is, we don't watch TV very much. We don't watch that TV, Oh my gosh. That was a tornado waiting to happen, or the hot wind, cold wind. So that was tough. And then, you have the competition of, well, if you're going to do that for your kid, then we need to do this for my kid, or vice versa. Or, why are you being so hard on my kid when your kid did the same? There's a lot of that, a lot of comparisons, a lot of finger pointing, a lot of arguing about the kids. Well, you gave them, $100 and you only gave mine 50 for whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter. And it's amazing how much it comes up. Amazing. The best thing that I could tell anybody, if they are going to get in a situation where there's the potential of step parenting and stuff, take classes. Go find a class on step parenting and how to handle it. So at least you have something to fall back on, and not go, well, this is what I'm going to do, or this is what I did in my family, or whatever. Because that you could have the best that you could think of with your new partner, but the relationship they have with their child is very many times gonna trump that. And if you're not careful, it'll damage that relationship with your partner. So that is a discussion to keep open, seek help on, read a book, whatever. I mean, I'll sit down with anybody and talk to them about it, because it's tough. Like you got to prep for it. And even we still have it. Like, and our kids our baby's 23. We still have sometimes where, they're so-and-so. Why are we still supporting them?
Right. Sure.
This is going on, and it can be tough. That step parenting thing.
Sure. Like, so now the three that you took in that were your sisters, do they have a good relationship with your mom, with their mom, your sister, and the dad there, or what's kind of that like?
Well, the dads were never around.
Okay.
They never were part of the picture, and but with my sister, I describe it as my sister is an aunt, like has kind of that role of an aunt. My sister is wonderful, sweetest girl, lady. She's older than me, but that you'll meet. She just got herself mixed up in some problems. She had some addictions, that, some demons that she couldn't control at a period in her life. Period of time in her life. And the wonderful thing is that we were able to keep the kids, and we adopted them. So they're still within her grasp. So she has her own relationship with them. They're older, they're adults. It's on them to work that out. But
the dads never came back around or came into the picture.
No, and we had all their rights. Well, we had all the rights legally removed, obviously. But since I still was going to have time with my sister, then she's going to have access that way. And we had in the beginning, we had to control the access on, making sure things were healthy, and now they are. My sister's doing awesome, and totally different lifestyle. Totally, everything's good, literally. Yeah. So it's definitely a happy ending on that one as far as how things came out with my sister.
That's awesome. Now your wife Anna, you guys have been married for how long now?
Forever. I mean, I've been married. So that's the only wife I've ever known. You can tell my very white kids.
Yeah.
So we've been married since 11.
Okay.
Together since, I guess 08-ish.
Okay.
So a long time, like in my world, for you guys, I mean, since you've been born, I think.
I'm almost 40. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Well, he's older than me. I'm the young guy in the room here.
Yeah.
But I'm bald.
Yes.
Y'all got more hair than me. So.
Now that woman, you've met her.
Yes.
So that's
She's a hoot.
Oh my gosh. She's amazing. She is you'll hear about it, where Latin women are described as passionate is a good word.
Mm-hmm.
So my wife is like this. If she's happy, life could not possibly be better. Like, it can't get better. However, if she's not, it doesn't get much worse. However, also, you see that space between the two hands? That's how much difference, like, it's either this or this. There's nothing right here.
Nothing in the middle.
No. So now, fortunately, she's majority of the time, she's happy. Things are great. Grandkids also was a big, like, wonderful thing for her. But that was a wild ride in the beginning, because I'm, Mr. Straight and strict and whatever. And next thing I know, I've got this passionate, crazy Mexican wife, and like, and crazy's okay. She's fine with it. She knows about it. So I guess she always says that I was super square, and now, she's rounded off the edges a lot. So that it's been a good It's been great. And my kids, they know it. They saw it too early on where dad, it was good for mom and dad both. But, Anna being in my life has really been great in so many ways. And the fact that my kids know it, my kids express it, like that's pretty cool.
And how old were her two when you guys got married? So,
we got together. They were 16 and 10.
Okay.
And Isabel, who is her youngest, Isabel, because you just helped her buy a house. So this girl, whenever I started coming around, was pretty emphatic about what I am not going to be like. And one of those is I am not calling him dad. Okay. And my wife's like, no one's asking you to call him dad. Like it's like he's
call him Ed.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So, and she was tough. And because she was Anna's baby.
Yeah. She's 16.
She was 10.
Oh, she was 10. Okay, excuse me. Sorry.
But, she made parenting hard. She makes step parenting hard. She made everything hard. Just as tough as can be. And her and I fought every way you could think of. And then Anna was like, I got it. I'll handle these things. And then when it got too much for her, she's like, okay, she's yours now. I'm like, what? I had her almost fixed. And then you stepped in. And I had to go back and start all over. So anyway, the whole, I'm not calling him dad. Well, we developed a pretty good relationship over time. And then, for my birthday one year, she changed her last name.
That's awesome.
So I was like, she still calls me Eddie, which is her version of daddy, I guess. Yeah. But her last name is Fogelbach now.
Wow.
So that's pretty,
for sure.
Pretty, yeah, she's not going to call me dad though.
It's all right.
Okay. All right. Well, you said your wife rounded off the edge. You were square. She rounded you off. Rounded off the edges. Is that where the obsession with Jimmy Buffett came, or is it just music, or the lifestyle, or just an excuse to drink margaritas?
Yeah. I think it was 5 questions and it'd be yes to all 5.
Yes.
So it was the music. It was definitely music, and then so when it comes to music, I'm big about the words and the lyrics and stuff. Of it,
I don't think there's been a BNI meeting that we've had that he hasn't quoted Jimmy Buffett.
Really?
Yeah.
If I'm allowed to talk,
Jimmy's coming up.
Notice they took a lot of the ways for me to talk away. But it started with the music, obviously, one, the sound, but the relaxation part of the music. But then I started really focusing more and more on the words and what he was saying. And if you spend some time, you don't have to spend much time listening to some of the things he's saying. A lot of them are great life lessons and things to live by. I use a lot of them. I mean, they're in my email even. Like I used one the other day when we were, for BNI, for an attitude adjustment. And it basically boiled down, setting your priorities and making sure that what matters is what you're putting first. And, we are always looking at our watch and our clock on our phone to say, okay, what time it is. And then that's all based on, okay, what's next? What am I supposed to be doing now? Where am I supposed to be? Where do I got to be? And one of his songs, it says, I bought an old watch from a crazy man. And that'll watch go on a little bit, and the watch doesn't tell time; it only says now. And the perspective of stop worrying about everything else and just what's going on now. So just little things like that come from his music. The philosophy that I've always lived by is wherever you're at, whatever you have done that's wrong, right, or otherwise, wherever you're at right now. You can't change how you got there. You can't go back and fix a thing. So you take what you got and you grow from there. Like stop well, we did this wrong. I wish I would have done this. You can't do anything about it. You can learn to not do it again, but you can't fix it. So focusing on what got you here isn't what matters. Focusing on where you're going to go and forward is what's important. And again, one of his songs, breathe in, breathe out, move on. And that's like, has been my philosophy for the majority of my life, long before I ever knew it was an Jimmy Buffett song, just different words. Now his lifestyle really isn't like, I'd love to be on a boat all the time and whatever, and have a couple dollars that he has, but it isn't the partying, the drinking a lot, the
cheeseburgers in paradise.
I do like a cheeseburger or two. It was the music, the way it does have this relaxing, put your top down and drive type of feel. You don't have to have a care in the world yet. Still pay a little bit of attention to what's going on and with the people around you and stuff. But that's what it's really, what started it all, and I think about it all the time. I mean, I'm
covered in
beach tattoos. Yeah.
And I got some tributes to him. I even have my
land shark
there.
Land shark, yeah.
And that had the beer for me has been wonderful. Actually, I made it a rule if I'm going to join Adventure Unknown that had to be in the refrigerator.
He's got a secret stash
hidden. Yes, I do. I have it hidden. But I could talk about stuff with Jimmy Buffett, and it's been less about him, his lifestyle, than it has been his music, and some of the things he's done personally and what led to the songs is important, but it's more taking his advice. And another one that says the past is over my shoulder, and I need to focus on what's in front of me. It's in changes in attitude, changes in latitudes. I don't want to sit here and sing for you; that'd be bad. But it's just another one. I don't
know. The people that usually come on and rap or sing are the ones that do the best on here. So if you want,
get
some music going for you.
We could get my wife to dance on the table.
There. I know she's not afraid of that.
I got video proving otherwise.
It's Christmas, the Christmas party up here.
Oh yeah, there's that too. I guess you weren't involved with you weren't here yet.
Not yet.
Nope.
So we had a Christmas party and here at Adventure Unknown, and we had karaoke, and it was going okay, but nobody was really moving and stuff. I'd just sing a song, and then somebody else sing a song. Well, my wife gets up there and sings Selena first, and my wife is an excellent dancer, and so people are starting to dance because my wife's up there. So then I had Scott make her stay up there, and we threw on Shakira, Hips Don't Lie. It's a good video to watch.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, but the place got moving, and I did the same thing where we had an awards party in February, and I was able to secure Todd Thomas of Porta Potty DJs. I don't know if you know Todd is that one guy from the stadium.
Oh,
Cardinals,
yeah.
He's a member here.
Yeah,
okay.
He's a Cardinals DJ.
Yeah.
So he does the pre and post game at the Ballpark Village and everything.
Okay.
Well, we sat down here, and my goal was to make sure that my wife never left the dance floor. Because, and you've been to parties, that you could have the best DJ in the world, but if he doesn't read the crowd to know who to get up there to be the catalyst for dancing, nobody gets on the dance floor. You go to weddings all the time. They got a decent DJ, but he's not playing the right music for the crowd. So we sat down and basically made a playlist to keep my wife on the dance floor. She came off for 3 minutes.
Wow. It was a success for sure.
It was.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's awesome, man.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, you've definitely lived a very crazy life in terms of everything that you've done, where you've gone, and what you've been through to where you're at now. Learned a lot of lessons along the way. Your kids are watching. Say all your kids are watching this in 20 years from now. What's one lesson you want to leave them with?
Let's see. By then they'll be grandparents, right?
Maybe.
So the number one thing, and I will tell any parent, any person that is gonna probably have kids, I'll tell any person if they get dogs, get on the floor, get down on the floor, get at their level, get where they're at, and be physical, hands on, roughhouse, wrestle, cuddle, hug, let them crawl over you, let them jump on you, play with them physically at their level. Create those bonds that you can't get standing up while they're looking up at you. You can't get that bond that way. And let them know you're available to them just by, I can't, the amount of love and togetherness there is when you're down on their level with them. I mean, it can't be replaced. And I see a lot of moms aren't as much into that, which is okay because it's their design is different. You know, men and women, you know, I don't know if this is okay for the podcast, but men and women are different. And I
certainly okay.
I could have a whole podcast on that. But a lot of moms will discourage that. They'll discourage the roughhousing. They'll discourage the, you know, all this, you know, that, you know, playtime and stuff. And, you know, plus, you know, the dad's got this, you know, large list of things he's supposed to be doing anyway, because, you know, he just got home from work and it's a house. So, you know, it never ends. And, but that time never comes back. Never comes back.
You only have a short window to do it in.
Yeah. So, my kids and I are very physical with each other. So like they hug me, you know, kiss my kids, and, you know, they don't leave without hugs and such. And I love that. Like I'll watch some parents and older kids that'll be like, oh, okay, see ya. And I'm just like, get over here, you know? And I'll have some of my kids that are like, hey, where's my, you know, they haven't gotten their hug yet from me. Talk about a battle sometimes when the grandkid comes in first. I'm like, oh, you know.
Grandkid wins.
Yeah. But I wish my kids, if nothing else, and that they remember to do that. The dishes can wait. The lawn can wait. The laundry can wait. Whatever. It can all wait. And just get down on the floor, eye to eye, let them see that you're paying attention to them, and just have a blast on the floor. That's the number one thing that I would tell anybody.
That's awesome.
It's amazing, man. Well, Ed, this has been incredible having you in here, man. We've had a lot of fun talking to you. Really appreciate your time and everything. But before we get you out of here, I want to end it with one last question.
Call it the tombstone game. Here lies Ed. What Jimmy Buffett quotes on your tombstone?
Ooh. I can't use the ones I just said, I guess, because, you know, those are all great.
Actually, you can come up with whatever. I was just kind of joking.
Yeah, it
about
doesn't have to be.
Oh, okay.
You can do whatever you want to say.
Yeah, I just figured Jimmy Buffett's. You're constantly quoting him. That's why I threw it in there. But here lies Ed. What's it say on your tombstone?
Memories, not dreams.
Perfect.
Love it, man.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, thanks again so much for your time, and it was really fun getting to know you here. I know you guys know each other, but I had not met you before, so this was really great.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, and thanks to everybody that paid attention at home. If you could click that subscribe button, that would help us out a ton. Click that like button as well. Comment what you thought below, and we will see you next time.